Hello YouTube, so today we're going to talk about just some brief BS going around on the internet today. I just have some background footage from a vacation to keep you guys visually entertained. So the topic today, and I'll post it right down here, is the Denver Post posted something in quotations, "If it's a solid-nosed bullet, it goes through a quarter-inch of steel like butter." 2 Colorado deputies were killed while wearing body armor. Do cops need bear protection? I'm going to first kick this off by saying I don't really appreciate when people use tragedies to push their agenda, but I understand that's going to happen. But it's particularly upsetting when the information they use about a tragedy isn't even correct information. So I'm going to try to keep this as condensed and as quick as possible. So first off, what is a solid-nosed bullet? We're probably going to assume that's an FMJ bullet, so a copper-jacketed lead core bullet. The next, a quarter-inch of steel. That's got to be hardened steel if it's for body armor. So the only exception that could punch through that, quote-unquote, like butter, is something like 308 armor piercing or 5.56 XM193 under ideal circumstances out of a full-sized rifle. And keep in mind that most new body armor can still stop both of those, but for the sake of argument we're going to assume that he had maybe a later version or earlier version that couldn't stop that kind of thing. So with that being said, if both of those 308 AP and 5.56 XM193 came out of a full-sized rifle, the only thing capable of doing that, wouldn't the officer have seen the guy running around with a full-sized AR going, "Stop, drop the weapon, taking cover," or that kind of thing? I don't know about you, I would not be pursuing somebody if they had a weapon like that unless I had my weapon drawn too. According to the story, the officer was following him and then the guy pulled a gun and shot him, so it's probably a handgun, so we can rule out that it wasn't an AR to begin with. And we can also assume that if it was an AR, that would be the first thing the Denver Post would want to jump on and argue about the reason why the cops are getting killed, and not the fact that they're under-equipped with their body armor. So what does this information tell us? We can probably assume that it was a handgun, and if that were the case, and he's wearing a steel trauma plate, what kind of handgun, caliber / ammunition, could go through a hard trauma plate? Well, in my experience and knowledge, nothing! Unless it was some super exotic, illegal armor-piercing ammunition he had for his handgun, we can rule that out. So, that being said, what does that tell us? He was probably wearing a soft vest, as most all police officers do. And if that were the case, that does bring two things into perspective. One, yes, it could have been maybe a particular type of handgun that, maybe has the velocity or penetrating capabilities to go through that kind of vest. There are some out there that can. Well, there's also another view we can look at this. Maybe he didn't even hit the officer in the vest to begin with. We don't know that. And neither does the Denver Post, and this is what aggravates me, is that they're assuming, jumping to conclusions like that, without even backing the information, and as I have told you in this video, we've disproved most of it just through some simple common sense. So I'm just going to wrap up this video by saying, I'm really curious to know what kind of experts they have over there coining terms like a solid round-nosed bullet. That's interesting. So I think that already kind of can conclude for us the kind of people writing said articles. Thank you for watching. If you have any kind of comments, feedback, perspective on this, maybe some information has come out or changed, leave them in the comments below.